Once upon a time, in a city that pulsed with ambition and competition, a young man stood on the threshold of his dreams. He had just cleared the written test and the initial interview for a prestigious managerial position in a renowned company. His resume was immaculate, top grades, impressive credentials, years of dedication etched into every line. Now, he stood outside the door to his final interview with the company's director himself. Inside, the director sat behind a wide mahogany desk, scanning the young man's file with practiced eyes. After a long pause, the director looked up and asked quietly, "Your academic performance is outstanding. Tell me, did you receive any scholarships during school?" The young man shook his head. "No, sir, I didn't." "Then who paid for your schooling?" the director asked. "My parents," he replied with a small smile. "And what did they do for a living?" The young man hesitated for a moment before answering. "They were clothes cleaners. They washed laundry to make ends meet." The director nodded silently, then leaned forward with a curious look in his eyes. "May I see your hands?" he asked. The young man extended his hands, soft, unmarked, untouched by hardship. The director stared at them, his expression unreadable. "Have you ever helped your parents wash clothes?" he asked. "No," the young man replied, a bit unsure now. "They never asked me to. They wanted me to focus on my studies. They were faster and better at it anyway." The director leaned back in his chair, and after a moment of silence he said gently, "I have one request. When you return home today, I want you to wash your parents' hands. Come see me again tomorrow morning." The young man blinked, surprised. Was this part of the interview? Still, he nodded. "Yes, sir." That evening, the young man returned home with a quiet mind and a heavy heart. At dinner, he looked at his parents, their tired smiles, their worn-out clothes, their weathered faces. He cleared his throat. "Mama, Papa, can I clean your hands?" They looked at him startled. His mother chuckled nervously. "What happened to you today?" But they agreed, gently extending their hands. And for the first time in his life, he really saw them. Their fingers were rough, their palms cracked and scarred. Years of scrubbing, rinsing, and wringing had etched stories into their skin. As he poured warm water into a basin and slowly began to wash their hands, tears welled up in his eyes. He had never noticed how swollen his mother's knuckles were, how his father winced when he touched the bruises, how deep the lines ran across their palms. Each wrinkle was a price they had paid, each scar a sacrifice made in silence. This was the true cost of his education. That night they spoke for hours about dreams they once had, about nights they skipped meals, about the silent pride they carried in raising him. He felt ashamed, not of who he was, but of what he had overlooked for so long. The next day the young man stood once again before the director. The director looked up and saw something different, the same suit, the same resume, but in the young man's eyes, something had changed. "Tears?" the director asked. The young man nodded. "I cleaned their hands," he said softly, "and then I helped them wash the remaining clothes. I never knew. I never understood. Now I do." He paused, collecting himself. "I've always been proud of my grades, but yesterday I saw the hands that made those grades possible. I felt their pain, I saw their strength, and I finally understood what it means to earn something, not just for yourself, but because someone else gave everything they had for you." The director was silent for a long time. Then he smiled. "That," he said, "is exactly what I was looking for." I don't need just a smart manager. I need someone who understands effort, someone who values people, someone who won't place money above empathy. He stood, extended his hand. You're hired. This story isn't just about a job interview. It's about awakening. It's about honor. It's about seeing the invisible sacrifices made in our name and choosing never to take them for granted again. We often chase success thinking it's about achievement, but true success is about appreciation. It's about remembering the hands that lifted us up even when they had nothing left to give. It's about understanding that resilience doesn't always roar. It often scrubs clothes in silence behind closed doors. So ask yourself today, who are the hands that built your future? When was the last time you looked back with gratitude?